Welcome to the QI Souvenir programme. Tonight we have a seasonal salad of S-themed silliness for you to savour. So sit back and settle down for your first clip. This you're going to love. The Chihuahuan hook-nosed snake farts defensively when it is threatened. It's technically called cloacal popping, OK? So they expel air from their cloaca. They have one hole for reproduction, for digestion, so it's all just one hole at the bottom. And it makes an audible noise, and sometimes they do it so aggressively, this farting, that it lifts them into the air.
Oh, wow.
I've dated people like that. It's awful.
That's a talent, isn't it?
Isn't that a skill? To be able to lift yourself up with your fart.
Is it true that, talking of a snake's genitals, is it true that a male snake has two penises, or peni? I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Which would you prefer, two heads or two penises?
Two penises.
OK.
What about you, Janara?
Two penises, two
penises.
But not next
Is that a thing?
Not next to one another.
I'd have one in the regular place and one on one hand, on my left hand.
Instead of a finger?
Instead of a finger. I'd always wear a glove.
Yeah.
Why does he wear a glove? He's got a cock hand. I think I'd have four other fingers. I don't think I'd just have the cock.
No, no.
Pull the glove off.
Yeah. You wouldn't want to look weird, would you?
No. I think it would always be like that, or would it sometimes be like that?
It does a bit like that.
Yeah. OK.
Awkward, though, wouldn't it? When you couldn't stop your finger. Like an umpire.
I'm sorry I brought it up, Sam.
Yeah.
Whereas a second head, what is the point of that?
Well, you wouldn't be lonely. You'd
Oh, you
chat.
could talk amongst yourself.
Yeah.
Would we have different personalities?
Oh, imagine
Could be like
one leave, one remain.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you'd have an anti-vaxxer on you. Oh, they're trying to trace your every move. It's all a hoax.
If you had two penises, if you did, it would be a
Yes.
pair of hemipenes.
Is there anyone that has more than two?
Philip Schofield.
So slapstick is often cited as one of the earliest special effects, and there is an even earlier one, and I love this. It was invented by a playwright called John Dennis. So 1709, he staged his own play called Appius and Virginia. It doesn't sound very good. It was a tragedy set in ancient Rome. Nobody liked it. But what they really liked was his new thunder machine. It was amazing. It generated these really realistic sound effects for stormy scenes. Anyway, play did not do very well, and it closed after a few nights and was replaced by Macbeth. And when Dennis, the playwright, turned up to watch the Macbeth production, he was outraged to hear his very distinctive sound effect being used. They had literally stolen his thunder.
Oh.
And that is where
that
he
where it
gets...
came from?
Is that Steal My Thunder?
Yes,
Oh, well, there you go.
It's great.
And was it the thunder? Was it because they used a sheet of metal?
They used to use sheets of metal, but there was also a thing called a thunder run, which I wish they still had. They used to make a pipe set into the wall of some theatres, so it would start very high up in the gods, and it would wrap its way round the building, and you dropped a cannonball into it, and it would rumble, so you could almost as if you could hear the thunder going all the way around the building.
Cool.
That is cool, isn't
That's
it?
clever.
Yeah.
Be annoying to start it at the wrong time, wouldn't it?
Stop!
Romeo, we're from... Oh, dear.
Oh, no. How can you make yourself understood in another country without any words at all?
Pointing and shouting in
English are very loud. 2019, researchers at the University of California in Berkeley asked 50 people to vocalise certain feelings, and then they asked more than 1,000 people to explain what it was that they'd heard, and it gave us a map of 24 distinct human emotions which can be conveyed without words. So, what we're going to do, each panellist has got a couple of emotions we want you to convey without words, and see if anybody can work out which ones they're doing. Chris, I believe that you've been told yours in advance.
I have.
With no words, then. Two emotions.
Anger, frustration.
Anger, yeah. And the other one?
Oh, well, the first one was a home defeat for Liverpool, and the second was a draw.
Obviously, I'm miles off the money with this one, aren't I?
You quite like it?
Yeah.
Mild approval. Is that the most?
Amusement.
Mild amusement.
Amusement.
Oh, no, you need to do a little...
Do you mean if it's not a card with yours on? Have you been told what they are?
Are we doing them sequentially, or I'm going to conflate
I would.
the two?
I mean, I'd do them both together if you can.
What's Frankie Howard?
Yeah.
Constipated and aroused. Constipated while aroused.
The aroused thing is heading in the right direction.
I don't know. It's upsetting when you get eye contact with me.
He was doing desire and negative surprise. Right, Jen, you got 2?
I'm going to do them separately. I don't think I'm not going to conflate.
Because that didn't work, did it?
Yeah. All right, here we go. First one.
Is wallet or grommet an emotion?
Honestly,
It's one of the 2, isn't it?
you appear to be swallowing a Brussels sprout.
No, I'll do it again.
You've made a terrible mistake.
Close. It's embarrassment. Yeah.
Second one. Here we go. This one you'll definitely get. Huh?
What?
Confusion.
Yes, confusion is exactly right. Very well done.
Thank you.
Alan?
Mind, I've got... No, OK.
Disgust?
Yes! I haven't been casting anything for 5 years.
This is all you need. This is the
moment I can make a comeback.
This is your moment, Alan.
Right, one more, Alan.
OK, here we go.
Ecstasy.
Yes! Oh, my goodness.
Are you guys a couple?
In another life, Jimmy.
Another life.
Definitely.
Would anybody, if you found a snail in your garden, would you throw it into the neighbour's garden?
Yeah, we had just so many snails last summer. The gardener turned up.
The gardener?
It's a middle-class story.
Yeah, but... what?
Spent all day chatting to the cook, doing no work.
He said he's never seen snails like it. Anyway, I wish I hadn't brought him up. He's not even a part of the story.
He is now.
Anyway, I got this organic thing because I felt bad, but it said... I put it down and it said the snail won't... Don't worry, it's fine. Snails eat it and then they just burrow underground.
Right, and die.
Well, they didn't mention that, but I presume that's what happened.
Yeah. It's like a vegetarian's way of getting rid of animals.
Yeah. Why don't you just put, like, I was going to say salt, but Himalayan pink sea salt.
Yeah, that's... Yeah.
It's more what you would...
Yeah.
I was going to say normal table salt, but I know you... Why you got there with that? That grinder. Josh, don't waste the salt. I have to, darling.
You'd have got the cook to do that. That's what Brussels sprouts are another Christmas dinner staple, but is there any way to make them bearable?
Well, my friend's family, they play fart tennis at Christmas. So you eat as many sprouts as you can, and then you have one side of the table against the other side of the table, scoring fart for fart.
But you don't do it with an actual ball, no, it's just...
No, but you do it with a fart, so you... 15 lower.
No, I like the idea that the fart was so powerful it could propel the ball across the
that
table.
would be good.
Yeah. You have some sprouts.
Do we?
Yeah, you have some sprouts in a tin.
Oh, Auntie
This is where
Sandy.
Oh, look at that.
So, open up your Brussels sprouts, and then you also have a glass of red wine. What scientists have discovered is that Brussels sprouts taste less bitter if you take a sip of red wine between each mouthful, OK? Have a sip of red wine, and then...
Well, I might do one as a tester.
OK, fine, do that.
What, to see if it tastes disgusting and then it's better with the red wine? OK.
Then...
Fucking hell.
So the astringency of the red wine, so the rough, dry mouthfeel that you get when you drink it, it's possible it stops your saliva being able to pass the bitter taste to your taste buds. Or you just get piddly-pom. Does it work with the red...
The red wine is working.
Is that working? Yes.
Yeah.
There'll be 15 love in a minute.
We will win, my friend.
We're going to murder him.
Actually, about a third of the world's population speak a gendered language where inanimate objects are male or female.
I really love that.
Do you?
Yeah.
I think it influences how people think about the thing they're talking about.
And it makes you think of them as, like, nice gentlemen and ladies. Like, especially if Mrs. Teapot.
Yes.
oh, Mr. Coat Stand.
A survey of people that own, do you know, one of those robotic vacuum cleaners?
I've got one.
Is it a boy or a girl?
He's called Victor.
He! 2/3 assigned it a gender, and 3/4 called him he.
Do you think it's the legacy of the Henry?
I think it's because he wanders around aimlessly consuming everything he sets aside.
And he sometimes gets stuck in the corner, so yeah.
Yeah, no. So, just like today, medieval holy sites did a roaring trade in souvenirs, and people brought back badges as tokens of the journey, and they were often in the likeness of saints, but sometimes they were much, much weirder. And I have a replica here. Let me show you this one. This is a replica of a 14th century Dutch vagina shooting an arrow on horseback.
You don't often see them do that.
You don't. You don't. I can also offer you, I have here a phallus. A phallus with I don't know if it's a man or a woman pushing a wheelbarrow of phalluses. Replicas of the various badges. What else have I got here? I've got a penis on a boat. I don't know why.
I know.
We've all met those.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. The guy on the fallacies.
Yes, the phallus.
There, on
yes.
the top one, on to the left.
Oh, this one here.
Yeah, he looks like he's got a penis puppy farm.
It looks like he's selling fireworks.
It could be like little Monopoly.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a good idea. Do you want to be the penis or the vagina?
Can I?
You've not been buying fireworks off that bloke with a massive cock again, have you?
Was it ever called a badge, Sandra?
A badge, yeah. I like that.
Yeah, I think this is a thing that can be monetised. I might as well
I think
copyright
badge
that.
is good, yeah. Silent Night's music and lyrics was written in 1818 in the town of Oberndorf near Salzburg. It was written by two men called Joseph Mohr and Franz Gruber.
I'm loving your accent.
I know, right? In 1912, it was decided to make a sculpture of them, but Joseph Mohr, who had written the lyrics, had never, ever wanted to have a portrait done of himself, so nobody knew what he looked like. So they dug his skull up. I know. He'd been dead 60 years. They dug his skull up and based it on that.
It's like Victor Meldrew being bummed by a guitarist.
Oh, Lord. So, 1995, the Reichstag building, which is in Berlin, of course, was wrapped in 100,000 square metres of silver fabric, 2 weeks by two artists called Christo Ijavichev and Jean-Claude Denat de Guibon. The married couple who worked on the name of Christo. Can I say the building was not in use at the time?
A couple of people in there.
Yeah.
What was the artist's reason?
They described it as autobiographical, apparently. There is another thing in terms of the shrink-wrap effect, which I do think is very interesting. Paleontologists have really struggled to tell the sex of a dinosaur by its fossils, OK? Because there's pretty much all the tissue has decayed over the millennia and so on. And when artists specialising in prehistoric animals have drawn them, they've rather assumed that the skin is tight. On the carcass, OK? So it gives them this sort of slightly skeletal, slightly menacing look. If you think about it, there seem to be no fat dinosaurs, do they? And lots of dinosaurs had feathers. Some might have had bulging muscles. So you get this effect. And there's a wonderful book called All Yesterdays, and it has a look at what we might think modern-day animals would look like if we only had the skeletons and we did the sort of shrink-wrap effect. So have a look at this one. Would anybody know what that might be?
A hippo.
It is a hippo, yeah, absolutely.
My God.
It's fascinating, isn't it? And it's about how we cannot possibly know what things might have looked like.
Except that does look like a hippo.
In August 2005, The Sun reported that a constellation that looked like Richard Wilson of 1 foot in the grave could be seen by anyone with a keen eye. But it was actually publicity for Summer Nights of Gold on UK TV Gold.
But he couldn't believe it.
I love those ones where they're like face of Jesus found in, you know, apple or something like that, or in KFC bucket.
Do you know I was one of those? So
someone found your face?
No. Sunday Sport ran a picture and a full-page story.
Picture of you in the Sunday Sports Centre.
Well, no, what it was, they claimed to have found my face on Meghan Markle's knee.
No. There you are.
I've never been so pleased. It's like the Turin Shroud all over again.
Amazing. Who's on her other knee?
I don't know who I'm sharing with. I heard Alan on the other knee. There is a human who lives in a sandcastle, and his name is Marcio Matolias. He's also known in Rio de Janeiro as King Marcio, and he's a sand sculptor. He makes his money from tourists and also from a used bookshop, which he runs from a 3-square-metre castle that has been his home for over 20 years.
And it's made of sand?
It's made of sand. That's where he lives. He lives inside that sand castle. His main problems are the elements, so his castle can collapse if there's a very heavy storm. It gets unbearably hot in the summer. He's got no toilet, you know, can't do the thing. So he has to go to the fire station if he wants to.
And they're all right with that, are they?
Apparently, it costs $1 each time he goes. I don't know what.
Well, he's saving a lot on rent, I suppose.
He's lived rent-free for more than 20 years, which is...
Yeah. Doesn't the sea wash it away?
The trick is to build it above the tide mark.
Right.
It's in a lay-by off the A4.
My favourite childhood memory was building sandcastles with my grandfather until my mum took the urn from me.
Do you know what? I was once the voice of Caniston Thrush Cream.
Were you?
Yes, they did a radio commercial.
And you were the... What did you
I
have
was
to
the
say?
voice of Well, the marketing people had decided that for the purposes of this audio-only advert, the Caniston was going to be a stand-up comedian.
Have you got an itch? I've got an itch. I went to a bar, I had a bit of an itch.
Yeah, it was exactly that. And I thought I did a slightly different voice. You ever suffer from embarrassing feminine itching? I don't know, do you? Yes, you know. I thought, well, no one will ever know because I've done a slightly different voice.
OK.
And then I got recognised on the tube by a blind woman.
How can you make your cat smile at you?
Oh, cats. Don't start with cats. I used to have two, and one would go to the top of the curtains, and the other one would rip the curtains down trying to get it. That sums them up.
Sums them up.
Marley, have you got cats or dogs?
I had a dog. Well, I only had a dog for like a week once, because...
Wasn't it your dog?
Yeah, kind of. So I had this bike, and then a guy said to me, I want to buy the bike. He goes, I'll trade you. And I go, what you got? And he goes, I've got nunchucks. So I got the nunchucks, and I said, you got to chuck in 20 quid. He went, all right, cool. So I went home, and Mum was like, where's your bike? I was like, I've only got nunchucks and 20 quid. And she's like, well, no, go back and get your bike. And I went back, and I was like, I need my bike back. And he goes, all right, but I'll give you this dog instead. And I went, all right. So I took the dog back. And then someone's knocked at my house because that guy had stole the dog.
Oh, my word.
So I had to then give the dog back. But I got to keep the nunchuck, so it's a happy ending.
Sandy, do you know what a nunchuck is?
What I do know is that Marley and I have very different lives. Chris, have you ever used the system for visually impaired viewers, the audio description?
Yes. They fit in description in the gaps of dialogue, but they feel the need to fit it in every single gap. There's just no pausing for breath because they go, what can we put in this gap? Let's tell them he's turned around. Well, let's tell him he shut the door. I heard the door close.
Let me give you my favourite examples from Channel 4's Naked Attraction. So it's a show, I've never seen it, the lovely Anna Richardson presents, and gradually she reveals the naked bodies of...
They're doing a celebrity version. I could get you on.
Oh, no, I'm good.
They're not. Shut up.
I totally believed you.
It's only a question of time,
I
though, isn't
totally
it?
believed you.
Wow.
It's only a question of time we get that phone call.
They gradually reveal the naked bodies of the studio guest to a chooser who picks one to take on a date.
Oh, we've seen it, Sandy.
Oh, I haven't seen it. So the chooser in this instance was Brian. Anna Richardson, can we please see the bottom half of the bodies? Audio description. Wearing a colourful patterned shirt, babyface Brian gulps as the outer shells start to rise. Fingers pressed to his mouth, Brian scans the lineup of well-landscaped lady gardens.
Well, I like that.
Got tulips growing.
Well, landscape is lovely.
Wow.
You don't want it overgrown. You don't want the council coming in every 2 years. You want it properly kept.
Everyone likes a patio.
Prince Albert is the closest we've got to somebody who couldn't perform without an audience.
Is it like a thing where, for royalty, you had to prove that you've consummated the marriage?
You had to be watched.
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing. So Henry VI was King of England 1422 to 1461, and his wife Margaret of Anjou. They took more than 8 years to produce an heir, and there were all sorts of rumours that he was impotent or that she kept refusing.
A lot of sheep going missing.
They've discovered new evidence to suggest that courtiers had to accompany them to bed to make sure that they did the deed. The Chamberlain of Henry VI used to stay in the room while they were in bed together.
On his phone?
They did finally have a baby, Edward, but it was thought to either be a bastard or a changeling. People used to believe that it was a fairy or a devil child swapped in. They were married, actually, for a year before they met. Did you know that?
No.
No.
Yeah. So the Duke of Suffolk, who was Henry's advisor, went over to France 1444 and married Margaret in his place. It used to be called a proxy wedding.
That's the most Indian shit I've ever heard.
Well, tell me what you think about this, because it wasn't just weddings that were conducted in absentia. Mary Tudor, who was the sister of Henry VIII, her marriage to Louis XII was consummated by proxy. Do you know about this?
Consummated by proxy?
Yes, consummated by proxy. So the Duke of Longueville, who was, at the time, a French hostage in England, he acted as a stand-in for Louis for the consummation, right? So there's a whole lot of spectators, and Mary gets her clothes off and she climbs into bed, and then the Duke takes off his stocking, his doublet and hose, from one leg, puts his naked leg in under the bedclothes and touches her with it, and everybody applauds, and that counts as having consummated the marriage.
Wow. I don't understand straight people at all.
Let's talk about sex with sloths first, shall we? Why
Yes,
not?
please.
It'd be weird if we didn't talk about
I tell
it.
you, I'm first in the queue for that one.
Isn't he the she? I don't know.
Yeah.
She.
There's a look on that face, isn't there?
I mean,
Ready.
That come to bed, no.
I would not be kicking that out.
No, that is
of whatever tree you were hanging in.
that is definitely a come hither look, isn't it?
It really
so
is.
sloth sex begins, the female screaming at the top of her lungs that she's available.
Oh.
Ah! And then the males slowly...
4 years later.
Yeah. Slowly the man comes.
Did you hear that?
Before copulation takes place, he comes slowly towards her. Then it lasts as little as 5 seconds, and that includes the foreplay.
Yeah. Well, I think she's probably sorted herself out before he gets there, hasn't she?
Do you reckon? Well...
And then...
She's
I've been screaming.
I love the turn of phrase.
Yeah.
I sorted myself out before you arrived.
Yes, you were too slow, I'm afraid. I've had to sort myself out. Stopped at the pub again.
Up to half the females in the area can have children from a single male because they just think, oh, he's here, this one's here, and I can't wait for another one. He's
on the branch.
It's just taking too long.
As they say in sloth world.
So
was he on the branch?
Look at him,
he was.
I'll be with you in a minute. Just fix me wig.
Yeah.
Really, it reminds me of somebody, and I can't put...
It's Ozzy Osbourne. It looks just like Ozzy Osbourne.
It does. What's the most popular Volkswagen? Ooh. Yes.
Polo.
Polo. Gone in there with the Polo.
It's the Beetle.
Any more for any more?
Oh,
I would have
it's
said
a Golf.
I think
Passat. Scirocco.
Tiguan.
Now you're just showing
Combi bus.
Oh, no. So we're measuring by the number of items sold rather than by the value, and VW sells more sausages than cars. So I have some here. These are Volkswagen Original Teil, the original part. They're curry-flavoured sausages. They originally produced in VW factories to feed the staff. They became so popular, they're now sold by them for €10 a pack, and they're given as gifts in VW dealerships in 11 countries, but not in the UK. When you buy a car, you get given free sausages, and the VW base in Wolfsburg has got 30 butchers on the payroll, and they produce these. I think it's wonderful. These are original Volkswagen sausages. Can I just show you a trick? So, first of all, I'm going to light my lighter.
Whoa!
Just the smoke.
Smoke is enough to draw it back down.
That's so cool.
Oh,
Isn't
that's
that
like
cool?
magic
Have a look
trick.
at the video and it makes it a little bit clearer, but it is actually as if the flame is passing down through the smoke. So there it goes out. Into the flames, smoke. And look at it travelling.
That's amazing.
Boom.
That is
Wow.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
That's a good trick, isn't it?
That's a
like
very
that.
good trick.
What shape do bees make honeycombs into?
Hexagon.
It was previously thought that bees built their honeycombs out of hexagons. And there's a lot of people thought, how have they done that? Have they made a perfect hexagon? How do
Well,
they...
when you say previously thought, I mean, what you can do is actually look at it.
Yeah.
There it is.
So, what they've actually... what they've actually done...
The famous honeycomb shape.
They create circular-shaped cells using their own bodies as a mould.
Yes.
And then those form a hexagonal shape by themselves, the same way that bubbles sit together in a bubble bath.
What kind of bees make milk?
Nope.
That's the important question.
Yeah. The point is, we thought that...
Boobies.
Have you been home educating your kids? How is that going?
This is the tone of voice
They're not gonna get
of homeschooling in the Davis household.
Yeah.
Just do it, and then bring it to me. Try to do it. You haven't tried to do it. I can't read that.
So, well, the point is, Alan, that we thought that bees knew how to
Never
make
mind, the
hexagons.
point is, Alan, you know the hexagons, and you've shown some weird bee not actually in a honeycomb. Oh, this is a good picture where it's not a hexagon. Find a proper one. Your own time you're wasting.
Soffritto is an Italian mixture of chopped carrots, onions and celery used as a base for soups, stews and sauces. But what is suffragitsu? Yes!
A ninja suffragette.
Is correct.
What?
Is it?
I think I know something about this.
That is hilarious.
So, 18th of November 1910, it was also known as Black Friday.
This is when two people got killed, right?
A group of
Outside Parliament.
suffragettes were attacked by the police and 2 women died as a result. And they wanted a way to fight back. And there was a campaigner and martial arts enthusiast called Edith Garrod. And she became the official jiu-jitsu instructor to the Women's Social and Political Union.
And it gets better. It
Yeah.
gets better. They had like a hardcore of 30 women who were like the shock troops of the suffragettes.
Yeah, they were known as the Amazons.
Yeah, and Emily Pankhurst would give a speech and they would get her out or protect her. So there was a great incident where they got her out of a building in Camden.
Yeah.
And she was wearing a veil and the police eventually managed to wrestle her away and it was a decoy and she was gone.
But these
Like,
women
amazing.
carried clubs under their dresses. I mean, they were very, very, very determined. And there's a marvellous cartoon in Punch magazine of this woman, Edith, standing in front of a group of terrified policemen entitled The Suffragette That Knew Jiu-Jitsu. There is a thing, though, about the soul leaving the body. In Latin America, has anybody ever heard of susto or susto? It's Spanish for fright. It's a sort of folk illness, and sufferers believe that their soul leaves the body while they're still alive. So it's the belief that you've had something so terrible happen to you that your soul has actually briefly departed from your body.
I've had that when I've been offered gym membership.